So after the dispersal from anthers, okay, I'm continuing with the fertilization process. We have stopped with that topic in the earlier video. So in the fertilization process, so how this fertilization is carried out, how these pollen grains are reached to the stigma. The pollen grains will reach into the stigma through wind or air. Okay, so here are the stigma, right? Okay, so this is a bisexual flower where both reproductive organs are found on the same flower. Sometimes in some of the flowers they may have only one reproductive organ, so they need some agents to carry the pollen grains to their flower. So that release of anthers, that is the release of pollen grains from anthers, then pollen grains from anthers, then it is carried by wind. That process is called as pollination. After dispersal from the anthers, pollen grains are carried by wind or through the various agents to the stigma of the pistil, and that is termed as pollination. That mechanism is called as pollination. Now let us see what happens once the pollen grains comes and deposits on the stigma. See, this is the stigma, right? Okay, so pollen grains come and deposit on the stigma. This is the stigma. So what happens? Now consider the pollen grains and comes and deposits on the stigma. Many pollen grains can reach, but only one pollen grains can enter into the ovule. So pollen grains, these pollen grains, once it after reaches to the stigma, they will open up and they have this two nuclei inside that. Okay, they'll having inside two nuclei will be there. These male gametes will have a two nuclei in it. So that structure, once it comes and deposit on the stigma, they will, that is a micropore through which they will open and they'll develop the pollen tube. So from that pollen tube, the pollen grain will start to develop the pollen tube. Pollen tube enters through the style, reaches the stigma, then through the style it reaches to the ovary and then ovule, right? You can see this is a stigma structure. If you open the hibiscus flower, you can get a white color structure in the middle. So that is the style through which it reaches to the then ovary and ovule. Here, since it carries the two polar nuclei, okay, so it carries two nuclei in it. Now these two male gamete, where they'll go and fuse. Okay, remember, just to concentrate properly. Here, one of the male gamete fuses with the egg. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg and forms what? If it fuses with the egg, it forms a zygote. Okay, so one of the male gamete fuses with egg and forms what? And forms zygote. Okay, one of the male gamete fuses with the egg. You just look here. You can see three celled apparatus is there. Actually, it is three celled egg apparatus. In that, one of them will be egg. In the middle, it is a egg cell. In that, you will come and fuse one nuclei. Okay, one male gamete. Now, one more male gamete is there. Now, that will go and fuse with this polar nuclei. That will go and fuse with this secondary polar nuclei. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg and the other one fuses with secondary polar nuclei. So it fuses with the other male gamete fuses with the diploid secondary nucleus. We have to write it as a diploid because already it has two nuclei in it. So that's why it is a diploid. Should not avoid that diploid condition. Okay. So one of the male gamete fuses with the egg, another male gamete fuses with the diploid secondary nucleus. Thereby, what will be the condition of nuclei there? Two already were there. One of the male gamete comes and added there. So altogether, how many nuclei will be there? There will be three sets of nuclei, so which is called as triploid endosperm nucleus. Okay, PEN, primary endosperm nucleus. Now after the fusion, it forms a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. In short, it is written as PEN. Here this PEN 3 should be also in capital. Okay, not the pen what you use for writing. This PEN is 3 also in capital, which means that primary endosperm nucleus. So you can see there is a 2 fusion can be observed in this case. That's why this fusion is named as double fertilization, which is an unique event in the case of angiosperm. Got cleared about the double fertilization? Okay, so what happens afterwards? After this fusion of what does the zygote develops into? The zygote develops into embryo. Then what about this PEN? It develops into endosperm. Okay, again you have to write zygote develops into embryo, and primary endosperm nucleus later develops into an endosperm which nourishes the developing embryo. Later, this endosperm has a great role. It provides the nourishment to the developing embryo. Got cleared? This triploid endosperm nucleus later develops into endosperm. What's the role of endosperm? Endosperm provides nourishment to the developing embryo. This is important, that endosperm role is also important. So this fusion is there, no, the first one. What is that? It is syngamy. That is a usual process which can be seen in all other plants also. So that syngamy is means marriage. Actually the syngamy meaning is marriage. The first fusion, that is one of the male gamete with the egg cell, that process is called as syngamy, whereas the other one more fusion is there, no, that is it is a double fertilization. So we can say that since there is an involvement of 2 fusion, this event is termed as double fertilization. Then what about the other cells? Now I said about this, I told we have referred this egg cell, polar nuclei, but nowhere we referred about the synergids, antipodal structures. So what happens to those structures? They will degenerate and fall off. Okay, they don't have any role later after this fertilization. So later gradually they will get degenerated and they will fall off. So other structures, synergids and antipodals, degenerate after fertilization. Okay, so this is about the fertilization. Life cycle of angiosperms completes like this. So now you have to complete the labeling. Fine. What is this structure? It's already written. It is zygote. Okay. Then what is structure is? It is a embryo. This is a embryo. Now let me revise once again about the life cycle of angiosperm. You must take down this diagram neatly. You have a lot of space in your book, so don't write with a lot of congested way. So since I am writing, you don't follow the same. Okay, so here let me revise once again. Please write neatly and do all the labeling. Okay, this can be asked for 5 marks also. So this is the life cycle of angiosperm, and here the dominant phase is the sporophyte. The plant body itself is a sporophyte which can produce male and female gametes in a structure called as pistil and what is this structure is called as pistil and anther. So here pistil is a female reproductive unit, anther is a male reproductive unit, in which the anther, which contains microsporangium in it, undergoes meiosis and produces a microspore. Here, that inside the ovary, megasporangium, that is known as, here ovary is called as megasporangium and the anther is referred as microsporangium. In that, if there is a unit, so one of the unit, they have inside, they may have many units, right? So in that, one unit is called as microsporangium, another is megasporangium. By structurally, they are larger than this microspore. So that's why it is named as microspore and megaspore. This event you can also remember in the structure, in the algae reproduction, where you have studied the oogamy, where male gamete is small and female gamete is large and male gamete is motile, whereas the female gamete is non-motile. That is one of the advanced type of reproduction which can be seen in higher category also. So that's why here we can see that oogamous condition of reproduction. So what happens here? Megasporangium undergoes meiosis, and it has a undergoes meiosis and produce a embryo sac. That embryo sac, inside the ovule there is a embryo sac having the structures like 3 antipodals, 2 secondary polar nuclei, and there is a 3-celled egg apparatus. Come to the microsporangium. Inside it has microspore undergoes meiosis and produces 4 microspores. This microspore later develops into a pollen grain, and during the dehiscence of anther, pollen grains are released. They are carried by air or they can be carried by insect, birds, and that process, the process of transfer of pollen grains anther to the stigma is called as pollination. So then by the process of pollination, anther deposits on the stigma and develops the pollen tube, reaches to the ovary and ovule, and inside the ovule, one of the male gamete fuses with the egg cell, whereas the other male gamete fuses with this secondary nucleus. This process, the process of fusion of one of the male gamete with egg cell is called as syngamy, and the other male gamete fuses with this diploid diploid secondary nucleus to form triploid endosperm nucleus. Later it develops into endosperm. This zygote develops into embryo. This endosperm later nourishes the developing embryo. This is the process or events can be seen in the case of angiosperm. Now anything else you want to learn more about that? Now what is remaining? What happens to the antipodals and synergids? They degenerate and fall off. Okay, they won't remain after the fertilization. So after the fertilization, those structures will be degenerated. Okay, this is what the life cycle of angiosperm. Got clear? So we have completed all the classes of plant kingdom. We completed algae, bryophyte, then what else? The amphibians of plant kingdom is, what is the amphibians of plant kingdom? It's bryophyte. Then we completed pteridophytes. Next we completed gymnosperms. Then reached the angiosperm, and angiosperm, their life cycle we learnt. Let us move on to the next. Okay, so what is that? It is a plant life cycles and alternation of generation. Plant life cycle. Now just now you learnt about the life cycle, right? But here we are going to study all the life cycle found in the sexually reproducing plant. Plant life cycles and alternation of generation. Plant life cycle and alternation of generation. So what is alternation of generation? Let us first understand about the alternation of generation. So alternation of generation means, it is the definition you can take down like this. In a sexually reproducing plant, in sexually reproducing plant, they alternate between haploid gametophytic and diploid sporophytic generation. Diploid sporophytic generation, and this is called as alternation of generation. Got clear? So what is alternation of generation? In a sexually reproducing plants, okay, in a sexually reproducing plant, they alternate, their life cycle will alternate with a haploid gametophytic and diploid sporophytic generation. Here you will study the three types of plant life cycle. So what are those? One is haplontic life cycle, okay, diplontic life cycle, and haplodiplontic life cycle. So three types of life cycle you are going to learn, and we will do in the next video. Got cleared about this concept, right? So let me a brief introduction I'll give about these three life cycle also. Okay, so in the plant, let us consider a plant. A plant can produce a gametophytic plant body as well as a sporophytic plant body. Now, before telling about this, you may get confused. What is haploid, diploid, haplodiplontic, right? So let me clear about the haploid and diploid. Haploid and diploid, the difference is with respect to their number of chromosomes. We know that this cell is there, right? In the cell we have a nucleus. In the nucleus, what is inside? We have the genetic material, the chromosomes, right? So in the haploid, there will be n set of chromosomes, single set of chromosomes, whereas in a diploid there will be two sets of chromosomes. In a diploid condition, there will be number of chromosomes will be, what is the number? There is chromosomes will be 2n set of chromosomes. So we call it as a diploid cell. This is what the major difference between a diploid and haploid. In a haploid, there will be n number of chromosomes, that is single set of chromosomes, whereas in a diploid, there will be double set of chromosomes. So in a sexually reproducing plant, they will alternate with these two body structures. They either can reproduce through this haploid plant body or through the diploid. That duration which takes more time and through which generation they complete their life cycle, based on that we categorized it as haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic. Okay, so haplontic, it is found in the lower group of plants, then diplontic found in the pteridophytes and all here. Then yes, diplontic is found in the angiosperms and gymnosperms. Then haplodiplontic is found in some of the bryophytes. Then, so these are the three categories of life cycle. So there is a diagram is given in the textbook page number 42. All must draw this diagram as such using the colors. I want you to represent the diagram with the colors. So it has to be done like that because it's like a pie chart which shows the dominant phase. So that you have to show in your notebook also, which help you for the learning it better manner. Okay, so draw that structure of haploid, haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic. So you have to draw the three circles for this to show the three type of life cycle. Haplontic life cycle. Let us learn about the haplontic life cycle, which is found in Chlamydomonas. It is found in the some species of algae. Okay, many species of algae. See, always biology have the exceptions, right? I told in the last video also, biology always have the exception. So everywhere, whenever you are writing any case, there will be exception will be there. So here also, the first one, haplontic life cycle is found in which case? It is found in the algae such as Volvox, then Chlamydomonas, and then also in the Spirogyra. So mainly it is found in the algae. Okay, but not on all the algae will not show this type of haplontic life cycle. Then second one,